This is Speaking of Events, the podcast for event industry leaders. We bring together innovators, strategic rock stars, and visionary creatives to talk all about events, industry trends, and anything in between. And speaking of events, here is your host, Kerri Garbis.
Welcome to season 2 of Speaking of Events. We did it. We made it through to season 2. You know why? Because of you, totally unintentional that I just rhymed through to and you. And I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. Thank you for being here, for listening. It is because of you, wonderful, obviously extremely good looking and smart audience, that I am back for season 2 of Speaking of Events. So thank you, event professionals, event enthusiasts, family members, and other people I have paid to listen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're jumping right back into a fantastic season 2, chock full of course, amazing guests, as usual, talking about all things events and the trends and action that is happening within the industry. We're going to talk speaker disasters, which you know I'm obsessed with, and all fabulous event things. And today's topic on Speaking of Events, episode 1, season 2, is all about speakers and improving your speakers, because as you may or may not know, that is my jam. Besides being the host of Speaking of Events, which is now in season 2, did you hear? I am the founder and CEO of Ovation. We're a communication skills training firm, and we specialize in professional presence and speaker readiness, speaker development. So we get a lot of speakers ready, which is how it's not really how I found my way into the event industry. I had been in the event industry long before I had Ovation or was coaching. I do love the event industry, and every team member here at Ovation loves to help speakers get ready because it's so satisfying. We've got a goal, and we can see the results, and a lot of clients get to see the results and feedback from their audience members and scorecards and ultimate all around satisfaction from their speakers. So I am sharing today on my first solo episode, first episode of season 2, by the way. Did you hear? It is a solo episode. The guest is me, which is a little weird, but hang on with me. We can do it. And I do have a very special guest. I do have a guest coming on later who's going to help me out with something. So speakers are the jam of the day and my jam, and I absolutely love it. I've got more speaker disaster stories than I care to count. I personally have disastered as a speaker because I also do a lot of speaking myself, which is fun, and I get to walk the walk and do what my organization tells all these fabulous, smart people to do when they get up at conferences and speak. And I'll really be walking the walk because guess what, everybody? This just in, big news. I booked a TED Talk. More to come on that. I'm filming in February. It will come out at some undisclosed, because I don't know, time after that. So that's some big news coming from Speaking of Events. I will be eventing at a TED Talk. More information coming. What I wanted to share today for the first episode of the second season, first solo episode, is 5 key areas that I want you, the event professional, and family members and those people I paid to listen, to consider when you're training your speakers, how to get these speakers the best possible dynamos engaging in front of their audience. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So this is all stuff that if you chose to engage with Ovation that you would get, and plus, plus, plus. And also the stuff that I just want every event professional to know. A lot of these are, wow, these are things if you could possibly implement that your speakers really will have an easier time. They're going to breathe a little easier. You're going to breathe a little easier and have more time to deal with other stuff. So you're ready? 5 strategic areas that you can improve your speakers. Okay, here they are. First and foremost, you need to, this might sound daunting, you need to create a mistakes are good culture with your speakers. What? I have to create a culture? What is mistakes are good? Mistakes are not good. Mistakes are bad. Actually, guess what? Mistakes are good. This is the thing that as an improv actor, we love to embrace. Mistakes are good. It makes us human. It shows the audience that we're fallible and makes us more relatable. A number of years ago, I went to see, it was on my bucket list, to see Barbra Streisand live in concert. I've always wanted to see her. I've never gotten to see her live, and it was touted as the final, I don't know if it is going to indeed be her final concert. She has not toured since then. And so at the very last minute, I happened to be in town in Boston with a night alone. And I'm like, I'm going. So I go on StubHub, I grab a ticket, I go, I sit by myself in nosebleeds, and I didn't care. And I loved the entire thing. And she got to a number in sort of the second, kind of like the middle of the second set, and it's a Sondheim song. And for those musical theater geeks out there, know that Sondheim is difficult. His stuff is very wordy. And guess what? She messed up. She messed up. Barbra Streisand made a mistake, and Streisand, sorry, it's Streisand, by the way. She, Babs, makes a mistake. And I think it was my favorite moment of the entire conference, the entire concert, because she was like me. She gets up on stage, she sings, she makes mistakes too. Everybody makes mistakes. By the way, I don't think half the people in this audience, unless they were total musical theater geeks like me, would have known that she made a mistake. I knew, and it was sort of like a nice little secret between us, which I loved. So Babs, I got you, girl. You're good. Mistakes are good, meaning let your speakers know you are not striving for perfection. You are striving for what we strive for when we train speakers at Ovation, the shiniest versions of themselves. And shiny versions make mistakes and say words that they might trip over their words a little bit. Mistakes are good. It is not about being perfect. It is about engagement and telling the story and getting your message out and calling your audience or driving your audience towards your call of action to action. That's it. As much as you can start as the event professional to create that atmosphere for the speakers, that mistakes are good, create that culture. That's a huge confidence builder for the speaker, no matter what environment your event is in. So tip number 1, create a mistakes. I just made one, see, create a mistakes are good culture. Tip 2, give them options and give them milestones. The more, so pulling a little bit from the improv actor side of me, is that improv is off the cuff. It's extemporaneous. It's not rehearsed. However, there is a strong structure behind improvised interactions on stage. And structure gives people options and milestones, if we're putting it in a more of a professional business context or vernacular, if you will. Giving people options or structure or parameters doesn't confine them. It actually frees them. So giving people structural options. So whether that's for the presentation or the type of presentation they're giving, the space, the content parameters, giving them options and structure is extremely freeing. If I said to you, hey, I need you to give a talk, it's going to be an hour, go. That can be really daunting. Oh, I got to fill an hour. What am I going to talk about? How do I break this up? Okay, now I got to go and I got to work with a coach and I got to figure out where's my narrative and do I have all these different pieces? So the more structure options you can give to these speakers, the better. If you want to do a fireside chat series at your event, say, terrific fireside chat speakers, you've got 20 minutes. I need these 5 elements in it, go. And that is extreme. Now they've got options. They've got a structure of which they can plug in a million things. If you say, okay, the side hallway speaker, I totally made that up. That's a terrible line of speakers to have, but side hallway speakers, I couldn't think of anything else in this moment. You are doing 5x5s or 3x3x3. I spoke at an event conference, a virtual event conference, and I think it was called a 3x3x3. So it was 3 slides, 3 minutes, 3 bullets per slide or something like that. And that was it. That was all I was given, and go. And it was really fun for me to be able to build it within that structure. So tip 2, give them options, give them structure. 3, guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say you have to get them to rehearse with accountability. And hey, this is where Ovation, my company, often comes in. We need to get these speakers to rehearse. Why? And guess what? You're going to hear some of this in my TED Talk. 73% of the population suffers from a fear of public speaking. 73% have public speaking anxiety, stage fright. And 90%, these are real stats, I didn't just make them up, I swear, 90% of the people who have that fear of public speaking, it comes from a lack of preparation. Preparation is key. Rehearsal is needed. Oftentimes, speakers don't know how to rehearse. And what really rehearsal needs is accountability, meaning they actually have to do it and they have to do it out loud, and they ideally can do it in the space, and meaning with accountability, meaning that I have a specific goal each time I rehearse, and rehearsal means saying it out loud. Doesn't have to be all the time, all the way through, all the time. It means some parts of it. Of course, sometimes we're going to do it all the way through out loud if possible, with accountability, meaning I need a goal. If I have a session, a presentation, and I get up to rehearse and I just repeat it out loud over and over again with not having any changes or goals or specific things in mind to work on, guess what? By the time I get up and do it in front of the audience, whatever bad habits I already have in my muscle memory, be it physical, verbal, vocal, whatever it is, that's going to come out when I present for real in front of the audience. Implement rehearsal with accountability. So obviously, I always recommend bringing in speaker coaches from a company called Ovation, getovation.com, or implement some sort of rehearsal with accountability calendar or something, if possible, with your team. Also, something we can really help with, even if you just want to get on the phone for 15 minutes and bang out a rehearsal schedule, that would be good for your speakers. Please contact me. Let me know. We're here as a resource for you. We want speakers to be better. Absolutely. Now, the 4th tip I have goes into, it's my fantasy category. It goes into the category of my fantasy. It has nothing to do with a beach and like a lot of cheese. that's a very different fantasy. We can talk about that later. This one is when you, the event professional, need to see the decks. Okay, I am prepared to throw anything at me that you want, the oranges, the tomatoes, the cheese balls, whatever you got, throw them at me after what I have to say, which is please wait, if at all possible. And I realize sometimes legal has to review the decks. Ask for the decks as late as possible. We want speakers to start to build their content and ideally start to rehearse out loud before we start to build their deck. This is very different than what's in common practice today. And I understand the challenges that they have to get vetted, they have to go through legal often, and compliance, and we completely understand. If at all possible, I'm throwing out my fantasy tip number 4, which is content development and rehearsal starts, and then the deck gets built. Here's why. The deck is the visuals, right? The visuals they're the backup singers. The star is the speaker. The star is that message, that engagement. So if we start, which oftentimes it happens, and this happens even when I'm a speaker at places as well, is that this deck is requested sometimes months in advance of the speaking engagement. And so we sit down, we kind of think through what we want to say, not specifically enough to build a deck, and that gets sent off. And then all of a sudden it's a month or a couple weeks before the actual event. And now as the speaker, I'm on my feet and I'm rehearsing, and I may be changing some of the content or adding different things, or even things have changed in the past couple of months, yet I'm beholden to this deck. It would be the same thing if you were going to see a play and the very first thing they did in the play before they started writing the script was like, you know what, we're going to tell a story and it's about somebody on the beach eating cheese, because clearly that's my other fantasy. And we're going to build a set of the beach. All right, now script writers go and write the story. And the script writers are now stuck. They're stuck on the beach. There's only cheese and nothing else. And that can be very confining for the creative content process for the speaker. Now they're not free. So having the deck early before anything else is really can be detrimental to the confidence, the overall rehearsal process. So fantasy tip number 4, cheese on the beach, and decks come second. Let them get time to start to give them the structure, get time to get some content done, get them to start rehearse out loud. And now let's build decks, because we also want them, if we are using the visuals, let's get them rehearsing with the deck after we know the content a little bit. All right. Has anybody thrown anything at me yet? Let me know. If you're going to throw something at me, make it money, chocolate. I'm open. Cheese balls would get very messy. All right. Tip number 5 for speaker success. And this is really for you, the professional, the event professional. This tip is really the one with you in mind more so than the speakers. Well, it's definitely also has speakers in there too. So many people, we had 32 episodes in season 1, which was very cool. Thank you very much to all my previous speakers. I think in at least half of them, the event professional that I was speaking with mentioned that the event industry is one of the most stressful jobs people can have, along with like firefighters and doctors and ambulance workers and all that kind of stuff. So it's stressful. So because of that, we recommend for you, for your mental health, for the sanity of the speaker too, is that take the speaker coaching off your plate. Is this a selfish tip? Yes, a little bit. You don't have to please do hire, if you are going to hire someone, hire Ovation, but you don't have to. As the event professional, take it off your plate. You're doing so many other things. I do speak to a lot of people within the corporate environment, within the creative agency, who say, Kerri, you're great. Ovation's great. All your trainers are fabulous. This is something I can do myself. Yeah, it is one of the things that you can do. You've got a lot of other things to work on. And we encourage event professionals to take the speaker coaching off their plate so you can focus on the overall event. I am obsessed with speakers. I'm obsessed with speakers and really good speakers and events. And when I go to events, I hone in on the speakers because that's where I live. I know it's about other things. I know it's about telling an overall good story, having a good experience for your audience, the people who come through the event. So getting this baby piece off your plate, whether it is to a professional organization, I recommend Ovation, getovation.com, or to somebody on your team, truly will let you breathe a little easier. If you've set up a really good mistakes are good culture, as we talked about, if you've given the speakers structure and options and good parameters for their sessions, if you have a strong rehearsal calendar, if you've empowered them with rehearsing with accountability, and you've got a good plan for visuals or decks or whatever else you need, then you can then delegate that to somebody else, even if it's on your team, even if it's not us, the best fabulous speaker trainers on the planet. So I hope that this power list is ultimately going to help you breathe a little easier. Mistakes are good. Give them options. Get them to rehearse with accountability. Try to get the decks in a little later. And as much as you can, take this off your plate. You, my event professional audience, you rock. You do so much. And you truly, by making a few changes, can make your speakers total rock stars, just like you. And now, shifting gears a little bit. Guess what, everybody? It is time for the Lightning Express round. Now, you may be wondering, how could I do a solo Lightning Express round? I can't. I thought about it. I probably could. I didn't want to. So I invited a friend to come help me out with this Lightning Express round, because it's going to be way more fun if I don't actually know the questions that are being thrown at me. And why not go through what all my guests have gone through in season 1? Because Mandy, did you know that it is episode 1 of season 2 of Speaking of Events?
It's an honor to be here. And
yes.
Do you want me to make that lightning crash sound?
I have a producer who does that, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
This is a high class deal.
Got it.
And speaking of high class deals, you people do not know the guest I have, even though it is a guest list solo episode technically, that this woman that you hear her voice because she said, do not show me on video. So even if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see her right now, is the one, the only. If you knew her, you'd love her. And if you don't know her, you've heard her voice on something, because she is one of the top voiceover artists in our planet. Her name is, you've heard her sell anything from tampons to chocolate to like maybe read some really bizarre Dracula, like young love novel, whatever. You've heard her. Trust me. Oh, also, if you have a kid that downloads some really annoying games, you've heard her a lot too, because I get that daily, which is pretty cool. Welcome. Oh, also happens to be one of my best friends, ladies and gentlemen, the star of her own podcast called The Man Cave. Check it out, mancave.com. It is Mandy Kaplan. Welcome to Speaking of Events.
Thank you so much. You really made me feel good, especially calling me one of your best friends. That's the highest honor.
Thank you. Well, I am honored that you are here to run our Lightning Express round. This is where Tom, yes, he does it. He does it. It's there.
I know, but I want to do it.
Okay, that's fine. You can.
I want to
Please
earn
do.
my keep. Yeah.
Please do. All right. So as for any seasoned listeners, you know, it's 45 seconds on the clock. There's not really a clock. And 7 questions. And I'm in the hot seat. Holy wow. Okay. I'm ready. Mandy, are you ready?
Yes, and hot seat would be my stripper name.
Yes, absolutely.
If I needed
And
one.
mine is Ginger Crisp. All right. Ready? Go.
What is your favorite moment in the event process?
When a speaker walks on stage and kills it, only second to when they go and thank their speaker coach after the event.
Nice. Who do you consider your mentor? Say me, say me.
It is Mandy Kaplan and Elizabeth Brown.
What do you do every day to stay healthy and sane?
Yes. Typically, I call you or text you something, and then I try to take a walk with my dog or go exercise, and of course, cheese.
Yes. And if you weren't talking to me right now, which would be very sad, what would you be doing?
Talking to you, and I'd be in meetings I would be talking my face off about Ovation.
Yes. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh, if I had a superpower, it would be I think I want to be the Flash. I want to, because also I love the Flash, and because he can do a lot of things fast. So I would obsessively get all my cleaning done really fast. And I have no patience. That's the Flash. I want to be the Flash because I have no patience.
Okay, but not Flasher. Flash, got it. What would you do with $1 million right now?
You just had this question on your podcast, Man Cave, by the way, mancave.com. It's really great. Check it out. And I'd have to give a lot of it away to charity because that's what you did. And yes. I would, so charity, college fund for my daughter. And I really want to redo our 3rd floor because right now it's just storage grossness. And I would love to turn this into a guest room and actually have a big office upstairs. So you and your entire family can stay here instead of at your mother's.
Last question. Who would play you in the Kerri Garbis biopic?
Oh, wait, I have a follow-up question. Is it a musical? Is it
Of course. Well, yes, but I can dub in the vocals. So don't worry about
okay, that's fine. Then it's Marissa Tomei.
Oh, I love it. Great choice.
Thank you.
You're done. You did it.
And that brings us to the end of our Lightning Express round. Thank you so much to Mandy Kaplan for being my guest Lightning Express round executor. And please do check out her podcast, The Man Cave, or is it just
mancave.com?
Man Cave. I said that twice. So I got it. I just didn't know if it was The Man Cave or Man's Cave. They're going into you guys just finished season 3?
Yep.
Yes, and you're going into season 4. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On that, thank you to our amazing listeners, my events professionals, my friends and family, and those small group of people that I pay to listen as well, always. And remember, please, if you like events, if you love events, even if you loathe events, tell someone about this podcast and give us stars. Mandy's given us stars. Give us stars. I've given Mandy stars. In fact, do a twofer, and Mandy and I will send you a video. Yes, we're gonna. So go to give Man Cave some 5 stars. Give Speaking of Events 5 stars. We love you. We love stars. We don't know if we love you. We don't know you. If you give us stars, we may love you. Just saying. And thank you again, Mandy Kaplan, for being my special guest on my solo episode 1 of season 2 of Speaking of Events. And remember, as always, whatever you speak about, remember to be speaking of events.
Speaking of Events is sponsored by Ovation, the gold standard for professional presence and speaker development training, helping everyone get prepared, get confident, and get Ovation.